Hi everybody! We are continuing our Ancient Egypt unit study and we are trying out some recipes in this book called Cooking in World Cultures, Food and Cooking in Ancient Egypt by Clive Gifford. We picked this up from rainbowresource.com and I'll provide the link in the description box below. So today we are working on stuffed cabbage leaves. They were really delicious and they were vegan. So I did need a variety of things that I don't normally keep in my kitchen, but I'm sure that you can make some alterations to the recipe so that you didn't have to go out and buy any special spices for this. Okay, so I'm getting my water boiling away from my cabbage leaves and my pan is heating up. So the first thing that we're going to do is dice up an onion. Make sure you keep those kitchen scraps for your compost pile. So I'm just going to finely dice this onion, and I found that I needed more spinach than what the recipe called for because it only called for 5 ounces of spinach, but you can alter this recipe as you see fit for your family. It also calls for sesame seed oil, and if you didn't have this, I think any oil would be fine. So I'm just going to saute those onions a little bit and then work on the spices. So we need 1 teaspoon of sesame seeds, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, and we also need about half a cup of currants or raisins. So I'm just going to add that to the onions that have started to get a little bit soft and translucent. And then the recipe calls for half a teaspoon of ground coriander, and I didn't have my coriander ground, so I decided just to kind of try to smash it, and that didn't work so well, so I just sort of chopped it up. But really I think that the ground coriander would have tasted better in this recipe because the little chunks were a little bit strong once the recipe was done. So I'm adding my frozen chopped spinach, and I ended up adding the whole bag, which was great because we needed it. This was such a delicious recipe that it was gone in a matter of about half an hour. Alright, so I'm just removing the leaves off of my cabbage, trying to make sure to keep them whole. That did take a little while to do, and I almost did the entire cabbage. And then I put it into the hot water, which some of it had evaporated, so I needed to add more water. I did salt the water just a little bit, and I did overcook it by accident, but it still worked out okay. I would just be mindful of not overcooking it because then your leaves won't split as much as they did for me. So I am adding about 2 tablespoons of filling to each of these cabbage leaves because the big ones were quite large, and they worked really well. They folded up pretty easily. I was a little bit surprised. I thought that it was going to be a little bit harder to do because a lot of the leaves had split, but they still held together really well. So I'm just doing this other one for you a little bit more slowly so that you can see how you just kind of fold in the softer parts first, and then you can tuck in that more stiff stem at the end. So we ended up with about 10 of these, and they were really good. The currants add a nice kind of punch of flavor to this. If you want to catch up on the other recipes that we're doing for our Ancient Egypt unit study, you can click here for those videos, and you can get the full recipes and the pictures on my website at pepperandpine.com. Thanks for watching.